This is video 3, continuing on my story of martial arts. Now, there was a redhead kid in high school. Now, he was walking down the aisle. He was furious. He was swearing. He was like, F this, F that. And then he comes in. He's like really upset. And I'm just like, you shouldn't probably be swearing like that. He's like, starts to swear at me. He's like, F this, F that. He's just like coming at me. He's like, you want me to punch you? It's like, he's just going crazy on me. So I just was like, I grabbed him, I spun him around, and I slammed him into the locker. And then he just crumpled. And then I just like walked away. And he just crawled away, and it was just like over. And the kid never bothered me again. Because that's life. It's like, you mess with the wrong people, you get taken down. So be the type of person who can hold your ground as a man or a woman. Don't let people push you around. Don't let people abuse you. Like, why? I mean, there's not a point. Just go get the right training you need. Now I'm going to move into another territory. So after I studied all those martial arts, and I studied a bit of another style in California, but it was similar to another style that I've already mentioned, so I won't mention that. And that was just basically Hapkido. But it was slightly different. It was more about takedowns and throws and joint manipulation and taking someone down by like grabbing the wrist and bringing them to the ground. And it's useful. It's a useful style. But the main thing that deterred me from that dojo was, and I only attended there a few times, was because they were studying American Taekwondo, and that's how they say it, Taekwondo. It's Korean Taekwondo. Study the Korean version because the Korean originated in Korea, where the art was founded. American Taekwondo is actually a sport, and it isn't a martial arts. It's a sport. It's used in the Olympics. It's used in a lot of places. It's a sport. It's about scoring points. Now, if you want something that's sort of like martial arts but more of a sport, then go into that, because that might be for you. But they don't have the correct stance for their feet and a bunch of other things that I noticed that I just was like, well, this isn't Korean. This isn't authentic or original. So we have to defer to original styles, I think, in many ways. Krav Maga interests me because it incorporates firearms, and I think, like, in today's day and age, you may not like guns, you may be against guns, or whatever, but the truth is, if somebody owns a gun, you're probably going to need a gun. I mean, if you're within 6 feet of them, yeah, you can disarm it with martial arts. Is there still a chance you could be shot? Well, maybe, if they were trained in fighting, with a gun. But the honest truth is that, like, you want to avoid situations like that. Having a concealed carry permit, it might be a good approach. But personally, I don't see the point, because I can just disarm handguns. And primarily, people aren't running around with sniper rifles or running around with, there's rifles and shotguns and stuff, but you don't hear very often of those sorts of situations. Although, having guns of various types might be an option, but that's completely up to you. And martial arts is nice because you become a weapon. You can go on a plane, and you're a living weapon. Your fists, your head, your body, your feet, everything's a weapon. And that's the main difference between something you carry around and you train with versus something you are. Because in certain areas you just can't carry weapons. You just can't. I mean, obviously if you're in law enforcement, you're CIA, you're FBI, or any of those organizations, you're going to have access to firearms in places other people won't. But at the same time, it's like, in my view, guns are a cheap way to kill someone. Why would you want to? And even if you injure someone, they could bleed out and die. It's like, there are better ways to change a person's heart than to kill them. Taking them down, making them submit, making them tap out. I had to choke out one bully, and then he had to tap out because it's just like, the same guy pulled a gun on me, I disarmed it, and a knife on me, I disarmed it. It's like, sometimes people just need to be taught a lesson. After that, he became a good friend of mine, and he stopped those tendencies. And I thought, this guy wants to be a leader, he just doesn't know the right way to be a leader. So if I had owned a gun and I had retaliated, then that friendship would have never happened. So that's the whole thing, is like, guns are, in my view, ever since they were invented, a very cheap way to get rid of a person who has a spirit and a life, and unless there's somebody who you allow the government to take care of those sorts of situations. So I'm going to steer away from the modern weapons. There's plenty of videos online about more modern weapons. The weapons I'm going to show have modern uses. It's just they aren't the types that are going to they're more honorable in the sense that somebody can actually fight you. You know, and samurais were all about duels and things like that, iaido, because it's like you want to give a person a fighting chance to actually defend themselves and honorably fight, especially if it's fighting versus like done out of anger or revenge, because a lot of times people just have different ideologies. You think of the Japanese military, they used swords as well as guns, and because they saw the use of a sword. And in modern day, a sword has a lot of uses. It's not, you know, a gun can run out of ammo, a gun can jam, a gun can miss, it's loud, you know, there's just a lot of things that make you think that modern weapons are going to be like a lot better, but it just depends on the situation whether it would be better or not. And so use everything in self-defense, come from a good place, you know, protect your family, protect the ones you love, but don't do anything rash is my only suggestion. So after studying all those styles, I moved into after Hapkido, I came back here to Utah, and I met a ninjutsu instructor in Salt Lake City. Now, this guy was a little volatile, but he did teach me how to use some weapons and ninja stance. I already knew ninja rolls from Shaolin Kempo, but I incorporated a foot stance that is, you know, very good to roll away from an attacker. And the ninja stance is very useful when you're using a more evasive style. Now, this can be very useful, say, if you're injured, to know how to evade. Say you know, there's a lot of uses for it, and so I'm just saying, like, I didn't study in it extensively because I'm somebody who gleans what I can. If I don't mesh with an instructor, I tend to move on and find another instructor, because you want to learn from somebody who's coming from a good place and they're not ego-driven. So that's the main difference between many martial arts instructors. You've got two versions basically that I've seen. One is the ego-driven mindset over here, and then over here you have the people who are confidence-based and they're in it for their students over here. So the ego-driven people are all about proving they're the best, even though they're older. You know, thinking they're the best, explaining why their style is like the most awesome and why everyone else is inferior. They put down a lot of things, and they want respect, but yet they don't demonstrate respectability. On this side, you have respectful instructors. Now, whether or not they spar with their students is up to them, but they come from a place of confidence, of peace, a lot of times a hidden power, a lot of times, and they speak from a place of respect. They honor other styles, are respectful of them, but they're also respectful of, and if they have a difference of opinion, they explain that opinion. They're like, well, you know, this is my opinion, but there might be, you know, other valid uses for somebody else having another opinion. And they just basically come from a place of positivity and excitement about the martial arts, or humor. And I think that is critical when you are training in the martial arts, because that respectability comes with time. I mean, most people have deep feelings that drive them to martial arts. You know, either it was being bullied as a kid, or maybe it was, you know, that they just want to build their muscle and strength, or maybe it's because they're inspired by a movie, or maybe it's because their dad, you know, is abusing them, or maybe it's because, you know, they have an older brother who's in the military and they want to like be like him, so they learn martial arts. So it's like there's a lot of reasons why somebody could join the martial arts, but it's about realizing that the reasons you're learning it and making sure they're positive, good reasons. Your reason isn't to kill people. Your reason of joining the martial arts is to bring light and love to people by protecting the ones you care about. It's like a family mentality, a friend's mentality. It's like you protect your clan, you protect the peeps that are like in your immediate circle. So yeah, keep doing that. Live the dream. I will be talking about weapons in my next video, and stay tuned.